Ever wonder why you feel stressed walking into your own home? What if we told you that ancient Japanese wisdom could transform your cluttered life into a peaceful paradise? Today we're diving into 10 clear signs that Japanese minimalism might be exactly what your soul is craving right now. The life-changing secret hidden in plain sight. What if we told you that feeling overwhelmed by your own home isn't your fault? That there's actually a beautiful, ancient way of living that could make you feel peaceful the moment you walk through your door. You know that feeling when you're constantly tidying up but nothing ever stays clean? When you buy organizing products but somehow end up with more clutter? Here's the thing, you're not broken and you're definitely not alone. Millions of people are struggling with the exact same thing right now. But what if there was a different way? What if instead of fighting against the mess, you could create a home that naturally stays peaceful? That's exactly what Japanese minimalism teaches us. And it's not about living like a monk or throwing away everything you love. The Japanese figured out something incredible centuries ago, something that modern science is now proving works. They discovered that the secret to happiness isn't about having more stuff or getting better at organizing chaos. It's about something completely different, and once you understand it, everything changes. This isn't another quick fix or organizing hack that'll stop working in 2 weeks. This is about transforming your entire relationship with your space and, honestly, with your life. And the beautiful part? You can start feeling the difference today, not months from now. Ready to see what we mean? Sign 1. Your home feels chaotic instead of peaceful. When your space drains your energy. Here's the thing, your home should be your sanctuary, not your stress source. If you find yourself feeling anxious or overwhelmed the moment you step inside, that's a huge red flag that Japanese minimalism could help you out. Studies show that cluttered spaces actually increase our cortisol levels, which is our stress hormone. When researchers looked at families living in messy homes versus organized ones, they found that people in cluttered spaces had higher stress throughout the day and felt more tired by evening. That's because our brains are constantly processing all the visual information around us, even when we're not consciously aware of it. Japanese minimalism teaches us about creating calm spaces where our minds can actually rest. Think about traditional Japanese homes. They have these beautiful, simple rooms with just a few carefully chosen items. There's something so soothing about walking into a space where everything has its place and there's plenty of breathing room. When we apply this philosophy to our own homes, we're not just organizing our stuff, we're actually giving our nervous system a break. We're creating environments where we can truly relax and recharge, which is something we all desperately need in our busy modern lives. Sign 2. You can't find things when you need them. The daily treasure hunt that's driving you crazy. We've all been there. You're already running late, and suddenly you can't find your keys, your phone charger, or that important document you swear you just had yesterday. If your daily routine feels like a constant treasure hunt, Japanese minimalism has some wisdom for you. The Japanese practice of Satan means having a place for everything and everything in its place. It's not just about being organized, it's about respect for your belongings and your time. When every item in your home has a designated spot, you're not just saving time searching for things, you're actually reducing mental stress. Think about it this way. Every time you have to hunt for something, your brain goes into problem-solving mode. That might not sound like a big deal, but when it happens multiple times a day, it adds up to real mental fatigue. Plus, there's this underlying anxiety that comes with not knowing where your important stuff is. Japanese minimalism solves this by encouraging us to own fewer things and give each item a specific home. When you know exactly where everything belongs, your mornings become smoother, your evenings more relaxed, and you stop wasting precious mental energy on finding your stuff. It's like giving your brain permission to focus on things that actually matter to you. Sign 3. You feel overwhelmed by your possessions. When your stuff starts owning you. There's this moment that happens to a lot of us. You look around at all your belongings and instead of feeling grateful or happy, you feel completely overwhelmed. Maybe it's when you're trying to clean and you don't even know where to start, or when you're moving and realize just how much stuff you've accumulated over the years. Japanese culture has this beautiful understanding that our possessions should serve us, not the other way around. There's actually a term called mono no aware, which roughly translates to the gentle sadness of things passing away. It teaches us that everything is temporary, including our attachment to material objects. When we hold on to too many things, whether it's clothes we never wear, books we'll never read again, or kitchen gadgets we used once, we're actually creating invisible weight in our lives. Every possession requires some level of mental energy to maintain, organize, and make decisions about. Research from UCLA found that people living in homes with high levels of household objects had elevated stress hormones throughout the day. This simple act of looking at clutter activates our fight or flight response on a subtle level. Japanese minimalism offers us a way out of this cycle by helping us distinguish between what truly adds value to our lives and what's just taking up space, both physically and mentally. Sign 4. You're constantly buying things you don't really need. The shopping cycle that never satisfies. Here's something that might sound familiar. You go to the store for one specific thing, and somehow you come home with a bunch of other stuff you didn't plan to buy. Or maybe you find yourself shopping when you're stressed, bored, or trying to cheer yourself up. If this resonates with you, Japanese minimalism might offer some real relief. The Japanese concept of enough, or jubun, is really powerful. In a world that's constantly telling us we need more, better, newer things to be happy, this philosophy asks us to pause and consider what we already have. It's not about being cheap or depriving yourself, it's about being intentional with your choices. Studies show that people who practice mindful consumption report higher levels of life satisfaction than those who shop impulsively. When we buy things without really thinking about whether we need them or how they'll fit into our lives, we often end up with buyer's remorse and more clutter. Japanese minimalism teaches us to ask better questions before we buy something. Questions like, do I really need this? Or will this add genuine value to my life? Or do I have something that already serves this purpose? These simple questions can save us money, space, and that weird guilt that comes with impulse purchases. Plus, when we do choose to buy something, it feels more intentional and satisfying. Sign 5. Your digital life is just as cluttered as your physical space. When your phone and computer feel like digital junk drawers. Let's talk about something we don't often think about: digital clutter. If your phone storage is constantly full, your email inbox has thousands of unread messages, or your computer desktop is covered in random files, you might need some Japanese minimalism in your digital life too. Just like physical clutter affects our mental state, digital clutter can be equally draining. Every notification, every unorganized file, every app we don't use is competing for our attention. Our brains treat digital overwhelm very similarly to physical overwhelm, with stress and fatigue. The Japanese principle of simplicity applies beautifully to our digital lives. Instead of having every social media app, every game, and every random tool cluttering up our devices, we can choose to keep only what truly serves us. This might mean unsubscribing from email lists that don't bring value, deleting photos we'll never look at again, or organizing our files in a way that makes sense. When we apply minimalist principles to our digital spaces, something interesting happens. We start to feel more in control of our technology instead of feeling controlled by it. We stop mindlessly scrolling through apps and start using our devices more intentionally. Plus, with less digital noise in our lives, we often find we have more mental space for creativity, relationships, and the things that actually matter. Sign 6. You feel guilty about not using things you own. The weight of unlived potential. This one hits deep for a lot of people. Maybe it's that expensive exercise equipment gathering dust in the corner, the craft supplies you bought with such enthusiasm but never touched, or the fancy dishes you're saving for a special occasion that never seems to come. If you feel guilty looking at things you own but don't use, Japanese minimalism has some gentle wisdom for you. There's this concept in Japanese culture about honoring the things we own by actually using them. It's not about keeping things because they were expensive or because we might need them someday. It's about surrounding ourselves with items that are actively part of our lives right now. The guilt we feel about unused possessions is real, and it's actually draining our mental energy. Psychologists call this decision fatigue. Every time we see that unused item, our brain has to make a micro decision about whether to use it, move it, or keep it. Those tiny decisions add up over time. Japanese minimalism suggests we can let go of this guilt by being honest about our current life, not our imagined future life. That yoga mat you bought thinking you'd become a daily practitioner, if it's been sitting unused for months, maybe it's time to give it to someone who will actually use it. This isn't about failing at your goals. It's about making peace with who you are right now and creating space for the person you're actually becoming. Sign 7. You're always cleaning and organizing, but never feel done. The never-ending battle against mess. If you feel like you're constantly tidying up, but your home never stays clean for more than a day, that's a pretty clear sign that you might have too much stuff for your space or lifestyle. When we own more than we can reasonably maintain, cleaning becomes this endless, exhausting cycle. Japanese homes stay naturally tidy because there are fewer items to get out of place. The philosophy behind this is simple but profound. When everything has a designated spot and we only keep what we truly need, maintenance becomes much easier and less time-consuming. Think about how much time you spend each week just moving things around, looking for places to put things, or reorganizing the same areas over and over. That's time you could be spending on hobbies, relationships, or just relaxing. Studies show that people who live in organized minimalist spaces spend about 40% less time on housework than those living in cluttered homes. Japanese minimalism offers us a way out of this cycle. Instead of constantly fighting our possessions, we can create systems where tidiness happens naturally. When we have fewer things and they all have clear homes, picking up becomes quick and easy instead of overwhelming. It's not about being perfect. It's about creating a home that works with your natural habits instead of against them. Sign 8. You can't relax in your own space. When home doesn't feel like a haven. Your home should be the place where you can truly unwind and be yourself. But if you find yourself feeling restless, distracted, or unable to relax in your own space, that's telling you something important. Often, this feeling comes from having too much visual stimulation around us. Japanese design principles emphasize the power of empty space. Traditional Japanese rooms often have very little furniture and decoration, but they feel incredibly peaceful and welcoming. That's because our brains need visual rest just like our bodies need physical rest. When every surface in our home is covered with objects, every wall is filled with decorations, and every corner has something in it, our minds never get a break from processing visual information. This constant stimulation can leave us feeling tired and on edge, even in our own homes. Japanese minimalism teaches us that empty space isn't wasted space, it's breathing room for our souls. When we clear surfaces, create open areas, and choose our decorations thoughtfully, we're creating environments where we can actually decompress. Many people who embrace this philosophy report sleeping better, feeling more creative, and experiencing less anxiety at home. Sign 9. You're avoiding having people over because of the mess. When shame keeps us isolated. This one can be really painful to admit. If you've been avoiding inviting friends over, hosting family gatherings, or even having repair people in your home because you're embarrassed about the state of your space, you're definitely not alone, and Japanese minimalism can help. There's something deeply human about wanting to share our homes with people we care about. When clutter or disorganization prevents us from doing this, it can actually impact our relationships and social connections. We might make excuses, suggest meeting somewhere else, or just gradually become more isolated. The beautiful thing about Japanese minimalism is that it's not about having a perfect magazine-worthy home. It's about creating a space that reflects your values and makes you feel comfortable. When our homes are organized and peaceful, we naturally feel more confident about sharing them with others. Japanese culture values hospitality deeply, and there's this understanding that a welcoming home doesn't need to be fancy or expensive. It just needs to be thoughtful and clean. When we apply minimalist principles, we often find that our homes become places we're proud to share. We can focus on connecting with our guests instead of worrying about what they think of our stuff. Sign 10. You crave simplicity but don't know where to start. The yearning for something different. Maybe you've been feeling this pull toward a simpler way of living. You see those beautiful, peaceful spaces on social media or visit a friend's uncluttered home and think, I want that feeling in my life. If you're craving simplicity but feel overwhelmed by where to begin, that's actually the perfect mindset for embracing Japanese minimalism. The yearning for simplicity often comes when we realize that having more stuff hasn't made us happier. In fact, research from psychology studies shows that after our basic needs are met, additional possessions don't significantly increase our well-being, but creating spaces that reflect our values and support our daily lives, that absolutely can improve our quality of life. Japanese minimalism isn't about getting rid of everything you own or living in an empty room. It's about being intentional with what you keep and creating harmony between your possessions and your lifestyle. The Japanese concept of wabi-sabi teaches us to find beauty in imperfection and simplicity, which means your minimalist journey doesn't have to be perfect to be meaningful. Starting small is totally okay. Maybe it's clearing off one counter, organizing one drawer, or choosing to buy one less thing this week. The goal isn't to transform your entire life this weekend, but to gradually create more space for the things that truly matter to you. Your journey toward peaceful living. So there we have it, 10 signs that Japanese minimalism might be calling your name. The beautiful thing about this philosophy is that it's not about following strict rules or achieving some impossible standard of perfection. It's about creating more space in your life, physical space, mental space, and emotional space for the things that truly bring you joy. Whether you recognize yourself in one of these signs or all 10 of them, remember that every small step towards simplicity is meaningful. Japanese minimalism teaches us that the journey itself is valuable, not just the destination. You don't need to completely overhaul your life this weekend. You just need to begin wherever you are with whatever feels manageable. The goal isn't to live like a monk or have an empty house. It's to create a life where your possessions support your happiness instead of competing with it. When we let go of what we don't need, we make room for what we do need. And that's how we create homes and lives that truly nourish our souls. What resonated most with you from today's discussion? We'd love to hear about your own experiences with clutter, organization, or minimalism in the comments below. Thanks for spending time with us today, and we'll see you in the next one.